The big political focus, the Congress presidential polls are over and the Congress party has a new president-elect, that's Mallikarjun Kharge. It has been an interesting contest between Mallikarjun Kharge and Shashi Tharoor, with allegations flying thick and fast till the very end. Interestingly, Rahul Gandhi, in fact, prematurely declared Mallikarjun Kharge or referred to him rather as the Congress president even before the official declaration was made. So while of course there has been a lot of celebration at the Congress headquarters, something that one hasn't seen in a long time, there was sounds of dhol, there were laddus that were being distributed after Mallikarjun Kharge was announced as the winner. It is still going to be interesting to see how he carries out the mammoth task that is in fact before him. So Mallikarjun Kharge is the new Congress president after a landslide win in the party's first election in more than 20 years. He is, remember, widely seen as the Gandhi-approved candidate. He won 90% of the votes that were cast on Monday, scoring 7,897 votes, while Shashi Tharoor finished with 1,072. With this, of course, he's now become the first non-Gandhi to become the chief of the Congress in 24 years. What's the dynamic of the relationship that he'll share with the Gandhis is going to be interesting. Meanwhile, live pictures that we're getting to you from the press conference that's about to begin. Mallikarjun Kharge is going to be speaking with the media. We're also expecting Shashi Tharoor to address a press conference in a short while from now. Interestingly, the timing that both leaders had given was similar, with delays accounted for. We're now expecting Mallikarjun Kharge to speak any moment. So we will, of course, get you all that update. But there's been high drama over this election. Like I said, even before the results, Rahul Gandhi had essentially declared him winner at a press conference in Andhra Pradesh. And when asked whether he would report to the new chief, Rahul Gandhi interestingly said that the new president will decide what my role will be. All right, so as we stand by for Mallikarjun Kharge's press conference, let's go across to Ankit Tyagi joining us live from Shashi Tharoor's residence. Ankit, it's almost going to be press conference versus press conference because both leaders expected to speak to the press at around the same time.
Well, rather, let's say it is going to be press conference on press conference because their versus situation is over, Rishika. Mr. Tharoor has lost. He has conceded defeat. And in just a short while from now, I mean, earlier the time was 4:30. In that moment, of course, the Prime Minister speaking, Mr. Kharge, then rescheduling his press conference, and then so is Mr. Tharoor. So we are waiting. First, Mr. Kharge, of course, now he is the winner. He is also the Congress president-elect, and on 25th, he's formally going to take charge. Mr. Tharoor will, in fact, speak after that. But you know, just a sense that I get from being here for the last couple of hours, the people, those who supported Mr. Tharoor, not a lot of them themselves possibly expected that Mr. Tharoor is going to get the kind of support that he has.
Right. Ankit, I'm going to have to interrupt you there because I believe Mr. Kharge has started speaking. Let's listen in.
क्या है? आपने खुद आंखों से देखा है, इसीलिए थोड़ी देर हो गई, थोड़ी नहीं, एक आधा घंटा देर हुआ, इसीलिए मुझे वक्त पे आपके सामने हाजिर होने का समय नहीं आया, तो इसलिए फिर एक बार मैं आपसे माफ़ी मांग के अपने शब्दों को आगे बढ़ाऊंगा। आज़ादी के 75 साल के इतिहास में भारतीय राष्ट्रीय कांग्रेस ने लगातार इस देश की डेमोक्रेसी को मजबूत किया और संविधान की रक्षा की। आज जब डेमोक्रेसी खतरे में है, संविधान पर हमला बोला जा रहा है और हर इंस्टीट्यूशन को तोड़ा जा रहा है, तो कांग्रेस पार्टी ने राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल इलेक्शंस करवाकर देश की डेमोक्रेसी को मजबूत करने का एग्जाम्पल पेश किया है। कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट के चुनाव के सफल आयोजन के लिए मैं पार्टी के सभी डेलीगेट्स, सीनियर लीडर्स, वर्कर्स और जो कोई भी इस कार्यक्रम से जुड़े हैं उन सबको मैं धन्यवाद करता हूं। आप सबने डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस में हिस्सा लेकर कांग्रेस को मजबूत किया है। मेरे साथी श्री शशि थरूर को भी शुभकामना देता हूं, क्योंकि ये चुनाव में हम एक प्रतिनिधि के रूप में हम और वो खड़े थे, लेकिन चुनाव बहुत अच्छा चला और वो भी मुझे आकर मिले। एक दूसरे से हम मिलकर अपना जो आगे पार्टी को बढ़ाने का भी जो कुछ कोऑपरेशन मैंने भी पूछा और उन्होंने भी हंसते हुए ये तो एक डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस है, हमको मिल के काम करना है ये कहा। तो इसलिए मुझे बड़ी खुशी होती है, उनको भी मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ। सभी कांग्रेस कार्यकर्ताओं की ओर से मैं श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी का आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। सोनिया जी ने पर्सनल सैक्रिफाइस कर 23 वर्ष तक कांग्रेस पार्टी के अपने खून पसीने से सींचा है। सोनिया जी की लीडरशिप में न केवल हमने 2 बार केंद्र में सरकार बनाई, बल्कि अनेकों राज्यों में कांग्रेस को रिवाइव किया और राज्यों में भी सरकार उन्होंने बनाई। उनका कार्यकाल इतिहास में याद रखा जाएगा, जो इतने लंबे समय तक पूरा कार्य करके पार्टी को एक शक्ति दी। आज देश में सबसे बड़ी समस्या कमरतोड़ महंगाई यानी इन्फ्लेशन, भयंकर बेरोजगारी अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, अमीर गरीब के बीच की खाई बढ़ते जा रही है और सरकार के द्वारा देश में फैलाई जाने वाली नफरत। देश की इन समस्याओं के खिलाफ जन आंदोलन तैयार करने के लिए पूर्व कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष श्री राहुल गांधी कन्याकुमारी से कश्मीर तक 3,570 किलोमीटर की यात्रा पर निकले हैं। आज पूरा देश उनके संघर्ष से जुड़ रहा है। मैं कांग्रेस जनों और देश के लोगों से अपील करता हूं कि देश के हित में भारत जोड़ो यात्रा में शामिल होकर श्री राहुल गांधी जी के कंधे से कंधे मिलाकर चलेंगे। उन्होंने मुझे 1 घंटा पहले मुझसे उन्होंने कहा कि आपको अभिनंदन, आप कांग्रेस के अध्यक्ष बने हैं और मैं कांग्रेस के सिपाही के नाते काम करते रहूँगा और आगे बढ़ेंगे सब मिलके, ऐसा उन्होंने मुझसे कहा। इसीलिए मुझे बड़ी खुशी होती है कि वो पादयात्रा में रहते हुए वो अपना थोड़ा सा समय मेरे लिए उन्होंने फ़ोन पे बिताया, इसलिए मैं उनका भी धन्यवाद करता हूँ। आज हम सबको मिलकर कार्यकर्ता के तौर पर काम करना है। यहाँ न कोई बड़ा है ना छोटा, सब बराबर है। हमें देश के संविधान पर हो रहे हमले और देश की डेमोक्रेसी को ख़त्म करने की कॉन्स्पिरेसी से मिलकर लड़ना है। हमें फैसिस्ट ताकतों से लड़ना है जो कम्युनलिज्म का चोला ओढ़कर डेमोक्रेटिक इंस्टीट्यूशन पर अटैक कर रहे हैं। हम संगठन को भी मजबूत करेंगे और इन चुनौतियों से भी लड़ेंगे। दिल्ली की सत्ता पर बैठे हुए हुक्मरान सरकार बातें तो बहुत करते हैं पर काम कुछ नहीं होता। और असलियत में उनके चरित्र को 4 शब्दों में अगर मैं बताऊं कि ये है खोखला चना बाजे घना, तो ये उनका काम है। तो दोस्तों, हमारा मानना है कि देश एक तानाशाही की सनक की भेंट नहीं चढ़ाया जा सकता। हमें इकट्ठे होकर इन विनाशकारी ताकतों को हराना है। पार्टी के सभी दोस्तों को संसद से सड़क तक लड़ना होगा। बूथ स्तर पर संगठन के हर साथी को जोर से संघर्ष करना होगा। मुझे विश्वास है कि जैसे आपने मुझ पर भरोसा जताया है और गरीब परिवार में जन्मे एक सामान्य व्यक्ति को, एक सामान्य कार्यकर्ता को कांग्रेस का अध्यक्ष बनाया है, मैं आपके भरोसे पर खरा उतरने की पूरी कोशिश करूंगा। जय हिंद, जय कांग्रेस। Thank you.
Sir, there will be another opportunity. Kharge Saab has. I am very fortunate that I am in charge of the same state that Kharge Saab comes from. So he has asked me to request to all of you. उन्होंने मुझे आपसे सादर हाथ जोड़कर अनुरोध करने को कहा है कि 26 तारीख को वो अपना कार्यभार संभालेंगे और उस दिन एक व्यापक पत्रकार वार्ता कर बहुत सारे सवालों का जवाब लेंगे। आज हम सब ने उन्हें अनुरोध किया कि आज आप अध्यक्ष निर्वाचित हुए हैं, आप आज जरूर पत्रकार मित्रों को से मिलिए, अपनी टिप्पणी करिए, एक व्यापक पत्रकार वार्ता जिसमें आपके सब सवालों का जवाब वो लेंगे। उन्होंने मुझे अनुरोध किया है आपसे अनुरोध करने को कि आप थोड़ा सा धैर्य रखें और 26 को आपके सब सवाल लेंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू।
All right, so Mallikarjun Kharge there addressing the media but not taking any questions today, flashing that victory sign as he speaks with the media. He says that he will try and stand his ground. He says democracy is in danger, and at a time like this, the Congress's internal election has strengthened democracy and given the country hope. Very interestingly, he's also talked about how Shashi Tharoor and him will work together. And he's thanked him for being a contender in this election. He said Rahul Gandhi. All right, I think he's still saying something, if we can just listen in.
Big congratulations on behalf of all.
All right, that's Mallikarjun Kharge there flashing the victory sign. He is the next Congress president. He's spoken to the media, short press conference there. Interestingly, he talked about how Rahul Gandhi called him up to congratulate him and how he believes that he will be working with the Congress rank and file shoulder to shoulder. He's interestingly talked about how nobody is superior, nobody is inferior. And on the 26th of October now, the Congress president Mallikarjun Kharge will officially be taking over, which is when he will also be answering questions about this election. He's wished Shashi Tharoor well. He's thanked Sonia Gandhi for her sacrifice, for her role that she's played. And at the same time, he's talked about how Rahul Gandhi called to congratulate him and said that he will work as a soldier for the party. All right, let's go right across to NDTV's Ankit Tyagi standing by for that press conference that Shashi Tharoor is expected to address in a short while from now. Very interesting, Ankit. Before, of course, we hear what Shashi Tharoor has to say. Mallikarjun Kharge there thanking Sonia Gandhi, thanking Shashi Tharoor, saying Rahul Gandhi called him up, you know, talking about how he intends to work with the Congress rank and file shoulder to shoulder.
Mr. Kharge, of course, his first press conference after winning the election, and while he was thanking Sonia Gandhi, mentioning Rahul Gandhi, one thing was very, very clear. that Mr. Kharge wanted to send across that message that he is completely on board as far as the Gandhi family is concerned, because that is going to be vital in how and what he wants to do as far as the Congress party is concerned. Rishika, before I tell you more about what's been happening, I think there is some buzz here. Mr. Tharoor is expected to come out anytime, from any moment, in fact, as we speak. I'll ask my camera person, he'll just, pan and show you that there are few of these supporters of Mr. Tharoor, those who are here waiting. But let's also understand that Mr. Shashi Tharoor getting just about 12% votes, 11 point something percent votes in this election. More than 1,072 delegates have placed their confidence in Mr. Tharoor. It would not be easy for Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge to completely put him on one side. Mr. Tharoor, though has lost the election, but it seems that he has been able to, in a way, catapult himself in the leadership, top leadership of the party, and he may find some sort of a role in the new team that Mr. Kharge is planning to make. A lot of speculation around that. Some people think that Mr. Tharoor could also be made as a working president or maybe a vice president, but that also would reaffirm the fact that there are people in the Congress party, those who believed in his message. He said that he would want a central command-free Congress party. He wanted to change the way the Congress party was working. So all those messages have gone across to a certain section of the Congress delegates. And Mr. Tharoor being sidelined, possibly politically, would also not make much sense. There he is, Mr. Shashi Tharoor, making his appearance here at his residence with his followers, in fact, also, shouting some slogans. And, okay, I will just try and be on one side so that people can get, a complete view of Mr. Shashi Tharoor, who is right now coming for this press conference. His supporters, in fact, here. This is also, in a way, a show of strength as far as Mr. Shashi Tharoor is concerned. But make no mistake, the way this election has been fought and the kind of support he has got, Mr. Tharoor will not be somebody that Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge would not want to include in his team or keep him on one side. He's just coming for the press conference. What I'll do, Rishika, I'll quickly put my mic across on the table so that in just about a minute or so, when Mr. Tharoor starts speaking, our audience are able to
Very interesting, Ankit. We've talked so much about the time. Go ahead and place your mic there. We'll, of course, be listening in to Shashi Tharoor in just a moment from now. But Mallikarjun Kharge stopped short, didn't take any questions, and literally the moment Mallikarjun Kharge's press conference finished, we see Shashi Tharoor making that appearance. Let's quickly get in a word from NDTV Sunil Prabhu as well. Sunil, very interesting to hear Mallikarjun Kharge give that very short, bite to the press, very, very short press conference, and moments later we're seeing Shashi Tharoor, who's likely to speak any moment now.
That's right, and of course the stage is set now for Mr. Kharge to take over on the 26th of October. That's the date, and he'll also hold a full-fledged press conference. Of course, as we speak, there are many who are talking about how the party, and he needs to be given a free hand in terms of taking it forward. The present Congress Working Committee will thank Sonia Gandhi, and then a steering committee will be formed ahead of a plenary session, thanking Sonia Gandhi, thanking Rahul Gandhi, and then, of course, enlisting what he feels is now going to be the future for the Congress party, how every worker, big or small, is important, thanking Mr. Tharoor for his campaign, saying that he looks forward to work towards strengthening the party, to work it and to see that the party is revived. So all the right noises at this present juncture, something that the Congress really requires if it has to be in the reckoning in the 2024 Lok Sabha polls.
Right. I believe Shashi Tharoor has also started speaking. Let's just dip in and listen.
अंग हमारे डेलीगेट्स, हमारे पीसीसी डेलीगेट्स करीब 9,000 माफ कीजिए, आज निर्णय लिया कि मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे साहब हमारा नया अध्यक्ष होगा। मैं खबर सुन के उनके घर गए और उनको मेरी बधाई सुना दी। वो बहुत मेरे वरिष्ठ नेता है, मैं उनके साथ काम भी किया हूँ लोकसभा में, जैसे मैं आप सबको पहले भी बताया था। हम लोग कॉलीग्स हैं, सहयोगी है, और मैं खुश हूं कि इस चुनाव के बाद कांग्रेस पार्टी को एक नया अध्यक्ष के लीडरशिप और के नेतृत्व और गाइडेंस से आगे बढ़ने का मौका मिलेगा। मैं ये भी कहूँगा आप लोगों से कि मैं बहुत आभारी हूँ कि इतने सारे कांग्रेस कार्यकर्ताओं ने मुझे समर्थन दिए, जिनमें से 1000 से ज़्यादा मतदान देने वाले हमारे डेलीगेट्स भी थे और बहुत सारे जो शायद वोट देने का हक नहीं था लेकिन कांग्रेस पार्टी की भलाई के लिए काम करने वाले मुझे हर प्रदेश में आके समर्थन दिए, मेरे साथ निकले और हर जगह में जैसे आप आज भी देखते हैं मेरे साथ रुक के मुझे जिस किस्म के मॉरल सपोर्ट दिए, मैं इसके लिए आभारी हूँ। मेरे ख्याल में हमारे कार्यकर्ता हैं हमारी पार्टी का असली गुरूर और मैं कहूँगा कि हमारे कार्यकर्ताओं के काम से ही पार्टी आगे बढ़ेगी और मैं खुश हूँ कि उनको इस विषय से इस चुनाव से उनको भी एक मौका मिला हमारे पार्टी के भविष्य के बारे में सोचने के लिए और उनके ही पसीने से उनके ही काम से हमारे पार्टी का भविष्य बनने में एक बहुत बड़ा भूमिका लेना। मैं चाहता हूं कि पार्टी उनकी भी आवाज़ सुने। मैं चाहता हूं कि खड़गे साहब का विजय हम सब मान ले कि कांग्रेस पार्टी की जीत है। मैंने शुरुआत से ही कहा था ये कोई व्यक्ति का विषय नहीं, मैं मेरे लिए कुछ नहीं चाहता, मैं सिर्फ चाहता हूं कि पार्टी मजबूत बने क्योंकि भारतीय मजबूती के लिए एक कांग्रेस मजबूत होना बड़ी ज़रूरी है। तो इसी स्पिरिट में और इसी उद्देश्य से मैं लड़ा और जो भी इस लड़ाई में भाग लिए उनको मेरी बधाई और मेरे ऑल माय ग्रैटिट्यूड पे बताना चाहता हूँ। मैं उससे अभी रुकूंगा क्योंकि अगर आप लोग को प्रश्न होंगे तो शायद उसके लिए जवाब दे दूंगा, लेकिन मेरे मन में ये बहुत अच्छा हुआ कांग्रेस पार्टी के लिए और यहाँ से हम आगे बढ़ के कांग्रेस को हमारे देश के आने वाले चुनावों में एक बहुत बड़ा असर पड़ेगा मेरे ख्याल में, क्योंकि हमारे कार्यकर्ता भी जाग गए हैं, सब लोग तैयार हैं बीजेपी के चुनौती को निपटने के लिए और मैं भी काफ़ी कॉन्फिडेंट हूँ कि हमारी पार्टी आप लोगों को हमारी कामयाबी दिखाई सकेंगे।
देश का गुरूर
शशि थरूर,
देश का कोहिनूर
शशि थरूर।
Mr. Tharoor, I have a question.
Yeah.
Mr. Tharoor, you got almost 1,072 votes. So many are saying, the political observers are saying that these votes reflects that there is a feeling of dissent within the Congress cadre, because Mr. Kharge was seen as a Gandhi family candidate and you were not seen as a Gandhi family candidate. So many are saying that Congress also, 1,000 people in the Congress, among the Congress delegates, want change, and this is a vote for dissent. Like how?
There's a difference between the two. I didn't pitch myself as a candidate of dissent. I pitched myself as a candidate of change. And change not in the ideology of the party or in the direction of the party, but rather in the manner in which we do our regular work. And I did feel that there was a need for opening up access to Karyakartas in the party, creating more opportunities for discussion forums, implementing not only the declarations of the Udaipur Chintan Shivir, but further some of the additional ideas that I had published in the manifesto, which came to me largely from our own party workers who wanted to see these changes. And therefore, for me, I would stress that it is not so much about dissent, but how we can make a good party better. I believe we have the experienced leaders, the strong record in governance, and the convictions and values that are right for the country. But what I felt there was a problem with was that there was a sense of disconnect on the part of many of our workers, and that we needed to overcome that by giving them a greater sense of involvement. I hope the election itself has contributed to giving them some sense of involvement in the party. I believe that is the case. But I think beyond this, there's much more that needs to be done, and I hope Mr. Kharge, once he has had time to assume his role fully, will look seriously at how all party workers can contribute to effective governance in the party so that we can mount an effective challenge to the BJP in the elections ahead. Yeah.
Mr. Tharoor, while you were campaigning as well, there were times when you raised that, sometimes it seemed like that Mr. Kharge was being felicitated by the PCC chiefs. Today also there was a letter which came out. Mr. Soos had also spoken about that, where you said that there were some discrepancies or some violations that your team had raised. Did it always feel to you that this was a one-sided, some are calling it a rigged election against you, so you still fought the fight because you had to? Or are you absolutely satisfied with the way this entire election has been conducted?
Look, first of all, I think the leak of that letter was unfortunate, and I said so immediately. It's certainly not something we would have done, and we are getting some very educated guesses as to where it came from, but that's neither here nor there right now. All I wanted to say is that throughout the election, Salman, as the campaign manager, was receiving information from the field, from our party workers, and wherever there were anything that he felt needed to be brought to the attention of the election authority, it was so done. This is not the first letter that was sent. It was the last letter, but it was not the first. And I will say that what Salman was doing was his duty in alerting the election authority to any violations that have been reported to us. They would then have to inquire and judge whether any action should be taken. I'm not aware that any action has resulted on any of these things, but the point is everybody has to play their role in this particular situation, that's all. We are conscious that the party has held no election for 22 years. And I don't think we can either say we are absolutely satisfied or that we have any reason to mistrust. I think the fact is that in an election of this nature, after such a long time, there are bound to be glitches, there are bound to be slip-ups, and there were. But the fact is that for us, we never doubted the good faith of the election authority or of the party leadership in wanting to have a free and fair opportunity for both candidates to contest. You're right, the leadership by and large stayed with Mr. Kharge. Again, that is not necessarily surprising. If you have a choice between change and continuity, and you are part of the continuity by your own rule, why would you want to change? I mean, I must say I admire those who did come out nonetheless and support me. But I would say that that's an inevitable thing. Conversely, a lot of those who signed my nomination forms, a lot of those who accompanied me, a lot of those who sat alongside me in press conferences at PCCs and so on, were also people of some heft in the party, either by virtue of having positions themselves. We've had MPs and fairly senior MPs and former MPs alongside me. But we've also had a lot of party workers who devote hours of their days, day in and day out, in many cases for very many years. Some of them are standing here. They've devoted decades to the party without any such recognition. But they still feel that idealism, that desire to see the party succeed. And for me, sticking to the election was not just stubbornness or anything like that. It was also an acknowledgement of what I owed to all those who have taken so much of effort to promote my views and this desire for change in the party. So I have no regrets about any of this.
तो आपको लगता है कि टॉप लीडरशिप कहीं ना कहीं जैसे G20 के लीडर्स थे वो सपोर्ट में थे खड़गे साहब के, उसका फर्क पड़ा जो डेलीगेट्स ने वोट डाला तो उनके मन में था कि पहले से समर्थन खड़गे साहब को ज्यादा है तो वोट खराब ना किया जाए?
क्या मालूम आप वोट दिया ना मैं नहीं कह सकता हूँ क्यों लोग वोट किए और क्यों वोट नहीं किए. हमारे मन में जो लोग भी आए हमें समर्थन देने के लिए और जो लोग भी निर्देश मिलते हुए भी और हम उनके नेताओं के इंस्ट्रक्शंस के बावजूद मुझे वोट दिए, मैं उनके लिए बहुत आभारी हूं. उससे ज़्यादा नहीं कहना चाहता.
इलेक्शन खत्म हो गया. Do you think that this election was fair because you have been talking about not having a level playing ground?
Look, I mean, as I mentioned during the course of the campaign in a cricketing analogy, that the fact is that when you find yourself playing a match on an uneven pitch and the ball bounces and turns awkwardly, you still have to bat. And I have been batting. We were only concerned that there should be no pitch tampering. or ball tampering. And I think that for the most part, we have no complaints of that score. In any case, as has been pointed out, the result was pretty decisive. So I think it would be unfortunate to sort of blame conditions. What happened has happened. We have put forward the best account of ourselves that we could, and clearly it wasn't good enough to carry the day. And as far as I'm concerned, my congratulations to Mr. Kharge were genuine. He has, after all, stuck to his campaign, and he has won a resounding win, and we should pay tribute to him for that.
Sir,
and wish him well in this very major responsibility.
So you've talked about change, you've talked about reform throughout your campaign. Going forward, do you think that you will continue to raise these issues of reform? Like you've talked about decentralization quite strongly. Going forward, will you continue to take up these causes?
Look, in whatever forums are available to me within the party, I will stick to my points, because the fact is that I have been consistent. I think of those who have signed that particular letter, only one other person has stayed with me on upholding the various points we raised in that letter. And I would say that it would be silly to walk away from them, because we were not an organization of dissenters. That was always a mistake. It's a bunch of people who genuinely wanted a stronger Congress and felt that these steps would make the Congress stronger. Now, if at the end of the day, the Congress wills otherwise, that's the party's prerogative. But as long as I have an opportunity to address the leadership, and I do consider Mr. Kharge a friend, which is why I was so happy to go to his home today and congratulate him personally, I will certainly draw attention to some of these ideas and urge him to consider their implementation.
ഇത്തരത്തിൽ ഇടപെടലുകളോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഏകപക്ഷീയമായിട്ടുള്ള പിന്തുണയൊന്നും ഇല്ലായിരുന്നുവെങ്കിൽ വിജയം ഉണ്ടാവുമെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുമായിരുന്നു.
അല്ല, നോക്കൂ, ഞങ്ങൾ ഒരു തെരഞ്ഞെടുപ്പിൽ ഇറങ്ങുമ്പോൾ ആരും തോൽക്കാനല്ല ഇറങ്ങുന്നത്. ഞങ്ങളുടെ മനസ്സിൽ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് പറയാനുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം ജനങ്ങൾ കേട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾക്കും ഒരു നല്ലൊരു ചാൻസ് ഉണ്ടാവും എന്നുള്ള വിശ്വാസമായിരുന്നു. ഞങ്ങൾ ആ സമയത്ത് ഈ തെരഞ്ഞെടുപ്പിൻ്റെ പ്രോസസ്സ് തുടങ്ങുമ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരിക്കലും വിചാരിക്കാൻ സാധ്യതയുണ്ടായിട്ടില്ല ഒറ്റക്കെട്ടിൽ എല്ലാ PCCs-ഉം നേതാക്കളും എല്ലാവരും കൂടി ഒരുമിച്ച് ഒരു സ്ഥാനാർത്ഥിക്ക് വേണ്ടി മാത്രമേ നിൽക്കുള്ളൂ. അതൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് കണ്ട അനുഭവം കണ്ടിട്ടാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ മുന്നോട്ട് പോയത്. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് നമുക്ക് ചില കാര്യങ്ങൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ തുടങ്ങി. അത്ര എളുപ്പമായിരിക്കില്ല വിജയം. പക്ഷെ എന്നാലും ഞങ്ങൾ ഓടിപ്പോകുന്നവരല്ല. ഞങ്ങൾ എല്ലാവരും ആത്മാർത്ഥതയോടെ ഇറങ്ങി അവസാനം വരെ ആത്മാർത്ഥതയോടെ പ്രവർത്തിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു വിശ്വാസത്തിലാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ മുന്നോട്ട് പോയത്. അതിനും കാറ്റ് പ്രതീക്ഷിച്ചു. കിട്ടിയതിലൊക്കെ നന്ദി. നോക്കൂ, ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്തായാലും ഒരു സയന്റിഫിക് ആയിട്ട് എണ്ണാനുള്ള സാധ്യതയില്ല. പലവരും ഞങ്ങളോട് പറഞ്ഞു ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് തുറന്ന് പറയാൻ സാധിക്കില്ല, പക്ഷെ ഞങ്ങളുടെ വോട്ട് നിങ്ങൾക്കാണെന്ന്. അങ്ങനെ പറഞ്ഞവർ എല്ലാവരും വോട്ട് ചെയ്തോ ചെയ്തില്ലേ എന്ന് പറയാൻ ആർക്കാ സാധിക്കുക? അവർ തുറന്ന് പറയുന്നത് മറ്റേ സ്ഥാനാർത്ഥിക്കും, മെല്ലെ പറയുന്നത് ഞങ്ങളോട് പറയുന്നത് ഞങ്ങൾക്കാണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ചില വോട്ടിൽ ഞങ്ങളൊരു കണക്കായിട്ട് ചെയ്തില്ല. പക്ഷെ ഞങ്ങളുടെ മനസ്സിൽ 1000 എന്തായാലും ക്രോസ് ചെയ്യുന്നൊരു വിശ്വാസം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അത് പൂർത്തിയായി. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് കൂടി കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ ഞെട്ടിപ്പോയിട്ടുണ്ടാവില്ല. അതിനൊരു സംഘടനമില്ല. ഞാൻ പല പ്രാവശ്യം പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇതൊരു മാധ്യമത്തിന്റെ മനസ്സിൽ 23 പേര് കോവിഡ് ലോക്ക്ഡൌൺ സമയത്ത് ഡൽഹിയിൽ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന ഒരു എഴുത്തൊപ്പിടാൻ, അത്രയേ ഉള്ളൂ. അതിനേക്കാട് കൂടുതൽ പ്രതീക്ഷ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഉണ്ടാവരുത്. ഒരു വലിയൊരു സംഘടനയായിട്ട് നടക്കുന്ന ഒരു കാര്യമൊന്നും അല്ല ഇത്. ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരു നല്ലൊരു കാര്യം നടത്താൻ വേണ്ടി, പാർട്ടിക്ക് നന്നാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി ചില നേതാക്കൾ ഒരു എഴുത്തെഴുതി പലവരെയും വിളിച്ചിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു ഇതാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ എഴുതാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചത്, നിങ്ങൾ ഒപ്പിടുമെന്ന്. അപ്പോൾ ശരി പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഞങ്ങൾ ഡൽഹിയിലുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, ഒപ്പിട്ടു. പലവരും അതിന് പിന്തുണ കൊടുത്തു. പക്ഷേ ഡൽഹിയിലുണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല ഒപ്പിടാൻ. അത്രയേ ഉള്ളൂ. ഞങ്ങൾ ഈ 23 പേരെ ഒരേ സമയത്ത് ഒരു മുറിയിൽ ഞാൻ ഇതുവരെ കണ്ടിട്ടില്ല. അപ്പോൾ ഞാനൊരു സംഘടനയെ കാണുന്നില്ല. പക്ഷേ അങ്ങനെ വിശ്വസിച്ചവർ എൻ്റെ ഒപ്പം നിൽക്കാത്തതിന് അവരോട് ഞാൻ ചോദിക്കണം എന്തുകൊണ്ട് അവർക്ക് തോന്നിയില്ല എന്ന്. കാരണം ഞാൻ ആയത്തിലുള്ള എല്ലാ പോയിന്റും എൻ്റെ മാനിഫെസ്റ്റോയിൽ, എൻ്റെ പ്രകടന പത്രികയിൽ എഴുതി ഇറക്കിയിട്ട് തുടക്കം മുതൽക്ക് തന്നെ. അപ്പോൾ അവർക്കറിയാം എൻ്റെ ഏത് വിഷയത്തിലാണ് ഞാൻ മത്സരിക്കുന്നത്. ഞങ്ങൾ 2 വർഷം മുമ്പ് ആഗ്രഹിച്ച വിഷയത്തിൽ തന്നെയാണ് മത്സരിച്ചത്.
All right, that is Shashi Tharoor there speaking to the media, answering questions. He's thanked all those who voted for him in this election, as Mallikarjun Kharge, remember, has won the Congress president polls. Shashi Tharoor has spoken out. He says he has no complaints. This, remember, after a letter was leaked to the press, where Camp Tharoor has alleged irregularities in the votes that were cast in Uttar Pradesh, which count for about 1,000 votes in the 9,000 odd votes that have been cast in this election. So he says there are bound to be glitches in big elections. But he says the best that could have happened has happened. He's gone ahead to say that I was batting on an uneven pitch, but despite that, I continued to bat. I just didn't want there to be any ball tampering. Very interesting cricketing analogy being shared there by Shashi Tharoor. We will track this press conference very closely. He's, of course, continuing to speak there. But let's quickly get in reactions from PKD Nambiar, political analyst, whose views lean towards the BJP. We also have Meeta Chakravarti, spokesperson of the Congress party. First reaction from you, Meeta, as someone who represents the Congress party. The party cadre today was seen in full form with dhol and laddus, etc. A mood that we haven't seen at the Congress office, to be fair, in a really long time. But it's not been a straightforward election. Like Shashi Tharoor said, he was batting on an uneven pitch. Even at the very last moment, there was this letter that was unearthed which alleged irregularities. So an election that's been fraught with its share of controversy.
Good evening to all your viewers on NDTV today. And I think the moment is a moment of celebration of internal democracy within the Congress party. I'm a PCC delegate myself, so when I voted on Monday, I can say this with a certain amount of honesty and responsibility that there was no pressure from the top leadership to vote in a certain way. We voted according to our free will. All the delegates did, and hence you can see that there had been 1,000+ people who actually voted for Dr. Tharoor, and there had been a majority of the PCC delegates who voted for Mr. Kharge. And I think the PCC delegates are well within their rights to decide as who is best suited to understand the way the organization of Indian National Congress works, and how to rebuild that organization, how to strengthen that organization, and how to take the political narrative of Congress party forward. So the PCC delegates have voted. There has been a decisive victory for Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to Madhusudhan sir for conducting this election with such fairness and with such openness. There were, in all the PCCs, I voted in Kolkata, there were camera people and camera crew that were allowed throughout the day. There was a strong media presence. So this poll has been absolutely free and fair, and I do not think any other political organization in this country can claim to have such a process of having internal election with more than 9,000 delegates choosing and electing their president. So I congratulate not only Kharge sir, but also a lot of congratulations to the election authority under the guidance of Madhusudhan sir for conducting this. Also congratulations to Dr. Tharoor for putting up this contest. Both the candidates gave their best, they gave their narrative, they gave their alternative view of how to run the party, how to take the narrative forward. And I'm glad that we have had a decisive victory today for Kharge sir. But well done to the entire
you're congratulating your party, and you're congratulating your party's new president, as is the Prime Minister. Let's just take that tweet full frame. Prime Minister Modi tweeting a message of congratulations for Mallikarjun Kharge. He says, my best wishes to Mallikarjun Kharge for his new responsibility as president of the Congress. May he have a fruitful tenure ahead. Interesting tweet coming in from the Prime Minister. PKD Nambiar, your first reaction.
Well, I think this election has been one of the biggest joke. The selected people from the PCC, all the collegium which has elected the new president were all selected. So the selected people electing a new president, a president which is 80+ year old and who is supposed to reform the Congress, which is already which is a grand old party, getting a grand old president. Anyway, I'm not going to be talking against somebody because of his age. But if you really recall, I mean, a few minutes ago when the Shashi Tharoor was addressing the press conference, it was very clear that it was in an uneven pitch. There was a large amount of people who have already been declared, including the media, declared much before the election. So I don't know what is the reason for this election to happen only, because much before the election, this was already declared Mr. Kharge is going to be the president. From K.C. Venugopal to Ramesh Chennithala to many of the most of the Gandhi family loyalists were going all across the different states and campaigning for Mr. Kharge, giving the message very straight and clear to the people that he is the man for the Gandhi family. But I believe that one thing is very clear. There was nothing to lose for Mr. Tharoor in this whole exercise. He made a point. He stood for a cause which he was taken about 2 years back. Many of those G23 people are not anymore in Congress, or some of those people who are there, either they are inactive. The time is going to tell that what is going to be the future of Shashi Tharoor in the party, because we all know that he has been able to get 12% of the overall vote in such a bad pitch for him to contest. So I think in Malayalam also, in fact, since I follow Malayalam well, so I could feel that unhappiness of him, that it was not a level playing field. It was not really an election. It was more of, he tried to give an impression of an election. So from that point of view, he kudos to his leadership spirit. But it was all planned, well made out. And this could have been a great opportunity for Congress to make some new points.
You raised several important points. My colleague Sunil Prabhu is also joining us on the broadcast. He was at Mallikarjun Kharge's residence because there was a press conference shortly before. And I know Meeta Chakrabarti wants to respond, but I want to quickly get in a word from Sunil as well. Sunil, you know, Shashi Tharoor hasn't minced his words really when he's called it an uneven pitch and said that, you know, he hoped there would be no quote-unquote ball tampering that would happen. But he's also gone ahead and said that, you know, the best that could have happened has happened. And in a certain sense, you know, reiterated the fact that he was not a candidate of dissent, but a candidate of change. So very important body language, very important, you know, to actually read between the lines of what Shashi Tharoor has said. You know, does this in a certain sense set the stage now for perhaps a bigger role for Shashi Tharoor in the Congress party?
Well, that is what he was looking for, actually, Rishika. So he, with this 12% vote, really sets that stage, he and his team, because hats off to them. They brought in a breath of fresh air in the grand old party. You know, social media going live, the drum beats, right from the start of the campaign right up till the very end, talking about reforms, you know, breaking the high, you know, the what is called the high command culture. So he has definitely done a fantastic performance. And I must say privately, we met his you know, chief election agent on the day of the voting, and he said if we get anything above 500, it's a big you know, victory for us. They didn't get 500, they doubled it, they've got 1,072, and if you count those rejected votes, some for Rahul Gandhi and others, the 470, it's a clear sign that there are many people out of those 9,900 people who are standing up. To have 1,000 people there with a black flag or to have a different agenda within the party is a significant number that you cannot ignore. It is definitely, I would say, one vote of Mr. Tharoor's is equivalent to much more than Mr. Kharge got, because within the party to talk about the way he did it, despite, even though there's an official denial to the fact that the Gandhi supported, most of us who have covered the Congress party know who is an official candidate, who's an unofficial candidate. The truth is that the party needs some change, and to be fair to Mr. Kharge, who's the new president, very categorically making a statement saying that he accepted the congratulations from Mr. Tharoor, met him and requested him to work along with him to improve the party and help it to grow stronger. So let's hope that this camaraderie and this greater role for Shashi Tharoor. He is very keen to become a Congress Working Committee member to, you know, seek for those changes of that Udaipur declaration. Below 50 people with more than 5 years in the post should resign. And the elections for the Congress Working Committee, and that continues, and hopefully with that the inner party democracy will be further strengthened if it is implemented in the truth, in the true letter and spirit.
Well, Sunil, the election may be over, but the story in a certain sense is just about beginning. Mallikarjun Kharge has his task cut out for him.
Absolutely.
It's going to be very interesting, to see how he behaves with the cadre. What is the message that he takes to the cadre? And there are two state elections that are due. It's also going to be very interesting to see how his dynamics with the Gandhis plays out. Whether Rahul Gandhi actually leaves it to him to decide the dynamic, or is it all already decided? Thanks very much for joining us with that quick update. I'm going to slip into a very short break, but both PKD Nambiar and Meeta Chakrabarti will continue to be live with us on the other side as we continue that conversation. I know Meeta wanted to come in and respond to PKD Nambiar, so all that and more is going to happen on the other side of a short break. Welcome back. Our coverage of the Congress presidential election continues, and PKD Nambiar and Meeta Chakrabarti both live with us. Meeta, you wanted to come in. PKD Nambiar, of course, talking about how this has in a certain sense been a sham of an election. I mean, what is the Congress party even trying to prove? You wanted to respond to him. Go ahead.
Okay, the reason why I strongly oppose to the statement that this process of election has been unfair is that you need to understand one simple fact. The voters include the senior leadership and the mid-level leadership and the Congress booth and block level workers. So when we say that a senior leader has supported one candidate over another, you have to bear in mind that the senior leader or the PCC president is also a voter himself or herself. So he or she is well within his rights to support any candidate he or she chooses to. So to say that, the delegates will have to support only one candidate or the other candidate is actually going against the very basic principles of democracy. To see that there have been 1,000+ delegates who have actually come out and voted in favor of Dr. Tharoor shows clearly that they were takers for Dr. Tharoor's narrative, and he was by no means. He made it very clear himself that he was not a voice of dissent.
Okay.
He had the same principle, the same ideology. He's a firm believer in the ideology of Indian National Congress. He possibly had a slightly different narrative. But to say that if a leader has openly supported Mr. Kharge, you have to also keep in mind that the leader himself or herself is a voter too. And is he not within his rights to choose one candidate over another? So I think it is absolutely fair to say that they have supported the candidate they have chosen to support.
Mr. Nambiar.
It's very, Rishita, it's very interesting that Meetaji is just trying to make everything happen in the Congress during this election has been one of the most pious election we ever witnessed in India. It is not that way. It is on the other way. See, I'm not saying this. It is like if anybody who had listened to the Shashi Tharoor's letters and the press conference he attended about just 15 minutes before, anybody who could read that, it clearly gives a tells very clearly it was an uneven pitch and it was not even a fair poll which happened. But he's continued to say that his intention of contesting was from the point of view to bring the internal democracy, to kill the high command culture in Congress. But the only one thing which I really feel that it is from the point of view of this whole election has made once again that the vulnerability of Congress to bring back to not only just the democracy, to be a serious opposition party in the country. Look at Rishida in this way, that 9,900 odd the members who are supposed to vote. How many candidates were able to were ready to come out and be a candidate himself?
Well, lots of questions. Lots of questions that need to be answered.
Not even 5 people.
Lot of questions that need to be answered.
Not even 5 candidates.
Yes, okay. Lot of questions that need to be answered. But the biggest among them, of course, is the fact. The biggest among them, of course, PKD Nambiar, is the fact a lot has been said about the election process. We've just heard press conferences from both the leaders who contested this election as well. Mallikarjun Kharge is the next Congress president. He's the president that the Congress has got. Is he the president that the Congress needs at this hour? All of those are big questions that we will continue to discuss. Thank you both very much for joining us on NDTV. Short break here. News and updates continue with Vishnu on the other side. Stay with us.